This show, man. This fucking show. Hey everyone, this is Michael again. Welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. And my God. Monday Night Raw tonight was a complete fucking dumpster fire. Absolutely abysmal. You know, Summerslam is next week. And WWE has done a shit job in building towards SummerSlam. It's like WWE is putting more effort into building to Clash at the Castle than SummerSlam. I feel like WWE is just bridging SummerSlam. You know, we get to SummerSlam, and then WWE is going to build heavily towards Clash at the Castle. So that's what I find WWE doing. They're just using SummerSlam as a bridge just to get to Clash at the Castle. And they're going to put all their eggs into that event. And the bill for that is going to be probably decent. Or hell, WWE could do a shitty job in building towards Clash at the Castle. I mean, do you all know that SummerSlam is next week? No one, like 95% of you, I know you all probably don't know that SummerSlam is next Saturday. But Monday Night Raw tonight, look at this. Look at what we had tonight. We had, once again, a rematch. Bianca Belair versus Carmella for the Raw Women's Championship. This is the third match in 3 weeks. Saw it at Money in the Bank. Saw it last week. And then tonight, even though last week it ended in a countout. We had Damian Priest versus Rey Mysterio. We had, once again, Seth Rollins versus Ezekiel. We saw this 2 weeks ago on the 4th of July edition of Monday Night Raw. And then we had Angela Dawkins versus Omas, which then got turned into a tag team match with the Profits and Omas and MVP. We had Styles versus Austin Theory. We had a 6-man tag. Asuka, Alexa Bliss, and Dana Brooke versus Nikki, A.S.H, Doudrop, and Tamina, which was fucking nothing. And then the MIZ main evented Monday Night Raw tonight. Can you believe that? The MIZ main evented, and Logan Paul came on to answer and see if the MIZ will face him at SummerSlam. Channel changing garbage. I don't care for that to happen, which it's going to at SummerSlam. So we're going to get the MIZ versus Logan Paul at SummerSlam, and I don't give a fuck. I don't care about the match. Who is looking forward to the MIZ versus Logan Paul? Anyways, Monday Night Raw, complete dumpster fire this show was. Absolutely abysmal. But let's jump right into the review. Oh yeah, no TV 14 tonight. I know some people were hyped going to Raw saying, oh yeah, it's going to be the first Raw, it's going to be TV 14. Sorry, you saw the rating at the beginning of the show, it was still PG. So, Monday Night Raw opened up tonight with Titus O'Neil. And this was very weird for them to open up Raw with Titus O'Neil, which Titus O'Neil is the global ambassador for WWE. So Titus O'Neil was in the ring. He was under a spotlight. Titus O'Neil ended up talking about entering WWE and becoming a tag team champion. And also being a Warrior Award recipient. Titus then ended up saying that he's now reached the pinnacle of his achievements by becoming your WWE Global Ambassador. Titus O'Neil ended up saying that he'll represent WWE around the world and spread goodwill. So Titus then ended up talking about putting smiles on people's faces and reaching out to the men and women in the military serving around the globe. He then ended up saying that it's all about doing good. Titus then went on to say that you'll never hear them talk about politics or religion or any other topic that's divisive. Because Titus O'Neil ended up saying this. He ended up saying that this is a place where WWE wants to make sure everyone has a good time. He wants to make sure that everyone has a good time in WWE. Yeah, say that to the woman that Vince McMahon paid hush money to. So then Titus O'Neil end up welcoming everyone to Monday Night Raw, and that was that. So very weird for Titus O'Neil to open Raw, in my opinion. But it's good that Titus O'Neil is, doing the stuff, for WWE and being the global ambassador, and that he'll represent the company around the world and spread goodwill, putting smiles on people's faces. Much respect to Titus O'Neil for doing this. And so then we went to Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch ended up coming out. Geez, they want to open up the show fucking awful with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch got on the mic and I was ready to pick up my remote and mute the TV because Becky Lynch is so awful on the mic. She got on the mic and she was mentioning about the little engine that could. And I'm like, really? Becky Lynch ended up saying that she's a ginger locomotive of some sort. She ended up saying that she'll be the next Raw Women's Champion. Becky Lynch ended up saying that the winner of Carmella versus Bianca Belair will have to defend against her at SummerSlam. Awfulness by Becky Lynch. Yeah, she said, oh, the Bex Express. The Bex Express is running wild. So Bianca ended up making her way out. Bianca had a mic in hand. Bianca ended up saying that what Becky Lynch did last week was foul. She ended up saying that this is not the Becky Lynch WrestleMania comeback story. Bianca ended up saying this is her comeback story from last year's SummerSlam, when Becky ended up surprising her and Becky ended up winning the title in 27 seconds. So Bianca ended up saying that she'll kick Becky Lynch's caboose back to Ireland. And then we had Carmella. She ended up coming out, mic in hand. Carmella ended up saying that Bianca is making a mistake, overlooking her. Carmella ended up saying that if Bianca is counted out, she will be the new Raw Women's Champion. So Becky Lynch ended up attacking Bianca from behind. Both Becky and Carmella beat it down on Bianca. Bianca got back up. She ended up knocking down Carmella, but Bianca ended up walking into a manhandle slam from Becky Lynch. And pretty much that was basically that. This segment, that's what I thought of this segment. Absolutely boring and terrible. And Becky Lynch, like I said, she ended up saying, oh, the Bex Express is running wild. Woo-choo-choo! And then it derailed. The Bex Express derailed because of how awful Becky is on the mic. This segment was fucking awful. Absolute cringe. And then we had the first match of the night, a rematch, Carmella versus Bianca Belair, Raw Women's Championship on the line. If Bianca is counted out, then Carmella will win the Raw Women's Championship. This is the third time that we've seen Bianca and Carmella going at it. We saw this at Money in the Bank. We saw this last week on Raw. And now we've seen it again tonight. It's rinse and repeat. Same outcome that we have seen from the last two times. And we had Becky Lynch on commentary during the match, which I just wanted to mute the TV from hearing Becky on commentary. It's bad enough that we had to hear her on the mic, and bad enough also that she had to do commentary. So we had Bianca end up reversing a head scissor attempt, and she delivered a backbreaker to Carmella. Bianca followed up with a drop kick and a fallaway slam. Carmella ended up avoiding Bianca's handspring moonsault, and Bianca ended up landing on her feet. So both Carmella and Bianca went to the outside. Carmella ended up rolling back into the ring. Becky Lynch ended up trying to distract Bianca, to which Bianca ended up ignoring Becky. Carmella ended up rolling across the ring, and she ended up rolling back to the outside. So on the floor, we had Bianca ended up trying to go for the KOD on Carmella, but Carmella reversed that, and she ended up pushing Bianca into the ring post. So Carmella ended up knocking Bianca out of the ring again, and she ended up tossing Bianca into the timekeeper's area. Carmella then ended up pushing Bianca off the ring apron, and Bianca ended up crashing down onto the ring steps. So as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Carmella was on Bianca's back, and Bianca ended up backing Carmella into the corner. Bianca ended up driving a shoulder into Carmella's gut in the corner, and she mounted some punches. Bianca ended up flooring Carmella with a forearm, and Bianca then ended up hitting the standing moonsault onto Carmella. She ended up going for the cover, to which Carmella kicked out at 2. So at the end of the match, we had Carmella trash talk to Bianca. Carmella ended up running straight into the KOD, delivered by Bianca. So Bianca ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Bianca ended up winning the match, retaining the Raw Women's Championship. So now it will be Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship at SummerSlam. And I do hope this is the last time we see Bianca versus Becky Lynch. After the SummerSlam match, we need to move on. Enough is enough. We've seen these two go at it since last year's SummerSlam. And they had the match at WrestleMania. Let's move on after this match at SummerSlam. I want to see Bianca and Becky Lynch go at it again. Post-match, Becky ended up bringing the title into the ring. She ended up holding it high over her head. She dropped it at Bianca's feet and then walked away, and that was that. Overall, rinse and repeat. Same fucking shit that we've seen at Money in the Bank and also last week on Raw, which last week's outcome of the match that it ended in a count out because Becky Lynch ended up distracting Bianca Belair, and once the ref counted 10, Bianca got counted out. That was that same rinse and repeat. And then we had Sarah Schreiber. Sarah Schreiber was backstage. She was interviewing the Street Profits. Angela Dawkins sounded excited to have Jeff Jarrett as the special ref for their match with the Usos at SummerSlam. Who is excited for Jeff Jarrett as the special referee? What does Jeff Jarrett have to do in being in this feud with the Profits and the Usos? Absolutely nothing. Because SummerSlam is going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. Out of anybody else that they could have made the special referee, they go with Jeff Jarrett. What year is it? So Montez Ford ended up saying, no matter what, they are walking out of SummerSlam. as the new undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. So MVP and Omas end up coming. MVP ended up mentioning Dawkins getting pinned by Omos last week. So the Profits end up challenging Omos and MVP to a match, to which MVP ended up telling the Profits that he's not dressed for that, but he'll try to get Adam Pearce to make Dawkins versus Omos for later on. So pretty much that was that. So Kevin Owens, we went to Kevin Owens in the ring. We had the KO show, and Riddle was his guest on the show. Kevin Owens ended up welcoming us to the KO show. He introduced Riddle. Riddle ended up coming out. Riddle got on the mic, and he thanked Kevin Owens for having him on the show. Riddle ended up saying that Owens promised him a Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Not a fan of Baja Blast. I'm a fan of, the original Mountain Dew and Code Red, which I think Code Red, in my opinion, is the best flavor of Mountain Dew. So I love my Code Red. Kevin Owens ended up saying that he has no idea what he's talking about, what Riddle's talking about. Kevin Owens ended up saying that he hasn't been around the past few weeks because he'd become obsessed with Ezekiel and nearly lost his mind. He ended up saying that he sought inner peace while he was away. Owens ended up saying that he tried to take a page from Riddle and to be calm and collected. Kevin Owens ended up saying that he no longer cares about Ezekiel or Elias or Elrod. Good, we're moving on from that. Kevin Owens ended up saying that him and Seth Rollins used to be friends, but Rollins ended up lying to him. So Owens ended up saying that Riddle also lost a friend in Randy Orton. Kevin Owens ended up saying that RK Bro was good, but Bro KO could be great. So Riddle ended up saying to Kevin Owens, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Riddle ended up saying that Kevin Owens is the biggest liar he knows. Kevin Owens then ended up saying he knows why he'd say that, but he's not that way anymore. To which Owens ended up saying to Riddle that he'll prove himself. And after all, Riddle trusted Orton. So Riddle got a little angry at Kevin Owens because of Kevin Owens speaking, ill of Orton. So Riddle and Owens got in each other's faces. Rollins burned it down, ended up playing, but the music didn't play. So Riddle was looking to the entrance stage, and nothing happened. Kevin Owens ended up saying to Riddle that he had nothing to do with that. So once again, Burn It Down ended up playing. This time we got the music. And Rollins came out of nowhere and beat down on Riddle. And so Rollins ended up delivering a stomp on Riddle. Rollins ended up destroying the KO show. And then he hit another stomp to Riddle. And that was basically that. Overall, in my opinion, this was the only decent thing on Raw tonight. Kevin Owens is always a joy in a segment that he's in when he's doing the KO show. Just highly entertaining. And then we had the Judgment Day, the Flopment Day. Damian Priest and Finn Balor. They end up making their way out. So then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Seth Rollins. He was walking backstage. He ran into Kevin Patrick. Kevin Patrick wanted to know why Rollins is targeting Riddle. Rollins then told Kevin Patrick that Riddle was so stupid, it's driving him crazy. So then we saw Ezekiel. Ezekiel interrupted Rollins. He ended up scolding Rollins for attacking Riddle. And he ended up saying to Rollins, that's not how it works. So Rollins then told Ezekiel that he'll stomp whoever he wants. And he ended up telling Ezekiel to stay out of his business. So Ezekiel ended up telling Rollins, business is about to pick up. So that was that. Pretty much sent off their match for later on in the night. So then we saw Damian Priest and Finn Balor. They were in the ring. Damian Priest got on the mic. Priest ended up ordering everyone to rise for a prince and a Punisher. Priest ended up saying that they chose not to attack Dominic last week because they want Dominic to join the Judgment Day, or the Flopment Day, as I call them. So Priest ended up guaranteeing Dominic will join the both of them tonight. Priest ended up showing, once again, the clip of them kicking Edge out of the group. Why do we have to see this again? I don't know. Balor ended up saying that he could watch that footage all day. So he was then interrupted by Ray's music. Ray and Dominic both made their way out. So then we had the match, Rey Mysterio versus Damian Priest. Very meh match this was. So Rey Mysterio was in Finn Balor's face at ringside, and the match got underway during the commercial. Damian Priest took control of the match. He whipped Rey into the corner, followed up with a splash, and Priest ended up going for the cover, to which Rey kicked out at 2. Priest ended up putting Rey in a chin lock, which is the common move that WWE loves to do to just slow down the match. Every recent match that we have seen, some superstar has to lock in a chin lock to slow down the match. It's been happening in recent matches. Well, how could we slow down the match? Let's lock in a chin lock. So Rey fought out of the chin lock. He ended up running into a backbreaker by Damian Priest, and he ended up going for the cover. Rey ended up kicking out at 2. Priest ended up putting Rey back, and can you guess it? A chin lock. Rey ended up fighting up to his feet again. Priest ended up maintaining control with some punches and knees to Rey's gut. So we had Rey end up climbing up to the top turnbuckle. Priest ended up cutting Rey off, but Rey ended up coming off with a Hurricanrana, and he delivered a springboard crossbody to Damian Priest. He ended up going for the cover, and Damian Priest kicked out 2. Rey delivered a tilt-a-whirl DDT onto Damian Priest. He ended up going for the cover, to which Priest ended up kicking out again. So Rey ended up drop kicking Priest into the middle rope, and he was going for the 619. Balor got up on the ring apron to prevent Rey from hitting the 619, but Dominic ended up pulling Balor down, to which Rey ended up running into a big boot by Damian Priest. Priest ended up going for the cover, to which Rey kicked out 2. Rey ended up setting up Damian Priest again and kicked him into the middle rope. Rey then delivered a 619 to Priest. So Rey ended up trying to go for a seated senton from the top turnbuckle. Priest ended up catching Rey, and he turned it into the Razor's Edge. And Priest ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Damian Priest ended up winning the match. Post-match, Priest ended up stomping on Rey. Balor ended up getting a couple of chairs. Priest ended up putting one chair under Rey's head, and ended up getting on the mic. Priest ended up saying that Dominic is joining them tonight, or he'll take Rey's head off. So Dominic then ended up sliding into the ring. He covered Rey, and Dominic was like, all right, I'll join. So Priest ended up holding up the mic, and Dominic ended up saying that he'll join the Judgment Day or the Flopment Day. So Priest then ended up laughing, and he ended up saying to Dominic that it doesn't work that way. So Priest and Balor end up being down on Dominic, end up booing him out of the ring, and the Ray end up sliding out, and pretty much that was basically that. Overall, this match, Damian Priest and Rey Mysterio, very meh, in my opinion. So then we had Seth Rollins end up coming out. Seth Rollins made his way down to the ring, and then Ezekiel ended up making his way out. So we had a rematch, Ezekiel versus Seth Rollins, which this match we saw 2 weeks ago. If you saw that match on the 4th of July on Monday Night Raw, it's the same fucking match that we saw tonight with the same outcome. I'm not even going over this match. Seth Rollins won the match, delivered a stomp on Ezekiel, and that was that. If you saw the match from 2 weeks ago, it's the same match that we saw tonight. Rinse and repeat. And then we had MVP and Omas backstage. They were visited by the Usos, the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. The Usos end up telling MVP and Omas that Dawkins has no chance against Omas, and that it'll make it easy for them at SummerSlam. So pretty much that was basically that. So then the Usos end up making their way out. They're going to watch Omas take on Angela Dawkins. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Corey Graves and Jimmy Smith and Byron Saxton. They were saying that next week on Monday Night Raw, which is going to be at Madison Square Garden, which I am not going to the show. They end up saying that next week will be Rey Mysterio's 20th anniversary. So that's going to take place on Monday Night Raw next week from Madison Square Garden. So, but like I said, not going to Raw next week at the Garden. And then we saw Finn Balor. Finn Balor was backstage. He ended up saying that Dominic failed the test. To which Damian Priest ended up saying that they knew he'd only offer to join to save his dad. So Damian Priest ended up saying that next week they'll finish what they started. So next week it's going to be the Mysterios versus the Flopment Day in Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Yay! That's some great match there. So then we had the match, Omos versus Angela Dawkins. This was pretty much nothing. The match ended in a disqualification because MVP ended up tripping Dawkins when he came off the ropes. The referee ended up catching MVP doing that and called for the bell. So Angela Dawkins won the match by disqualification. And then he had Adam Pearce walked out. And you all know where this was headed. Adam Pearce ended up saying that he thinks he heard he loved to team with Omos against the Street Profits. So Adam Pearce, holla, 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 in his Theodore Long, end up saying that there will be a tag team match. So we had the tag team match. Street Profits versus Omos and MVP. This match also ended in a disqualification because Jey Uso got involved. Jey Uso ended up pushing Montez Ford off the top turnbuckle. The referee ended up seeing that and the ref called for the bell. So the Street Profits won the match by disqualification. 2 DQs in one night tonight. Yeah, that is some good booking there, right? Right, Vince? Right, Bruce? And then we had the Usos and the Profits. They ended up brawling. Omos got involved, and he ended up delivering a double choke slam to the Profits. Who cares? The Usos end up posing over the Street Profits, and that was that. Who cares? Can you all believe that? 2 DQs in one night. And then we saw Sarah Schreiber. Sarah Schreiber was backstage. She ended up interviewing Veer Mahaan. And Veer Mahaan glared at the camera. And he ended up shouting, "Boo," to Sarah Schreiber. Veer then chuckled and walked off. Really? Really now? Is this the best that you got for Veer Mahaan? I can't believe that. He's just there, and then he goes, "Boo." You kidding me? With Veer Mahaan? And then Sarah Schreiber ended up introducing her actual guest, who was the Miz. Miz ended up telling Sarah Schreiber that he thinks Veer likes her. And Miz ended up saying to Sarah Schreiber that he thinks Logan Paul will withdraw his challenge. And they'll go on to become tag team champions. And Miz ended up saying that if Logan Paul doesn't, he'll find out that he doesn't want to be his opponent. So that was that. Who cares about this shit with the Miz and Logan Paul? And then we had Austin Theory. Austin Theory ended up coming out, and he got on the mic. Theory ended up saying that this year's SummerSlam will be the biggest of all time, because he will win back the United States Championship from the almighty Bobby Lashley. And then he's going to cash in his Money in the Bank contract on either the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, or Brock Lesnar after the last man standing match, which I am not looking forward to. Who is looking forward to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar again? We don't need it. So he ended up saying that, and he will become the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion. And then Theory ended up saying that we all know Reigns and Lesnar are going to destroy each other. And during this whole promo from Theory, Theory was getting the what treatment from the crowd. So Theory ended up saying that SummerSlam will be the perfect opportunity for him to cash in. He ended up saying that the stakes are high because he always comes through in the clutch. So Theory was like, I don't know why so many other superstars don't like me. And he ended up saying that they're all jealous. So Theory ended up talking about Dolph Ziggler coming back last week and how Dolph Ziggler is sticking his nose in his business. And then he showed a clip of last week when Dolph Ziggler came back and he made Austin Theory lose the match and attacked him afterward. Dolph ended up attacking Theory afterward, which we got no explanation as to why Dolph is attacking Austin Theory. What's the explanation as to why Dolph came back to Raw? Literally no explanation. So Theory ended up calling Ziggler pathetic. He ended up saying that no one is on his level. And then AJ Styles ended up coming out. Styles had a mic in hand. Styles ended up saying that whatever happens at SummerSlam, he'll be the first in a long line of people waiting to take any championship from him. Styles ended up saying that the locker room isn't jealous of him. They just think that he's a big jackass. So Theory ended up saying that Styles is so easy to figure out. He ended up saying that he's been on Raw less than a year. Well, if I remember, Austin Theory was once on a Raw before he debuted last year, if I'm not mistaken. So Theory ended up saying that he is already the youngest United States champion and also the youngest Mr. Money in the Bank in history. So Theory ended up saying that he wants to know where Styles was at his age. Theory ended up saying that he doesn't like him because he's young. To which Styles ended up saying that there isn't enough time on Raw to explain why he doesn't like Theory. So Theory ended up calling Styles an old, jealous, grizzled veteran. Styles ended up saying that he's going to kick some respect into Theory. And he ended up knocking Theory down. Theory ended up rolling out of the ring. And then Dolph Ziggler ended up coming out. Dolph Ziggler made his entrance, and then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. So that was that. And then we had Styles versus Theory. How many times have we seen this? Styles end up chopping Theory in the corner. So we had Theory end up delivering a backbreaker to Styles. Dolph Ziggler was sitting at ringside watching the match. Styles end up chopping away at Theory in the corner and hit a backbreaker to Theory. Styles ended up slamming Theory's head into the corner. And Theory ended up coming back, ended up whipping Styles into the other corner. He ended up going for the cover, to which Styles kicked out of 2. So Theory ended up grounding Styles with, can you guess it, a chin lock. Styles was able to break free of the chin lock, and he missed a charge and spilled out to the floor. Theory ended up trying to follow Styles, but Styles got back into the ring. So we had Styles end up run into a back body drop. As Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, he ran into a back body drop by Theory. And he ended up going for the cover, to which Styles ended up kicking out of 2. Theory and Styles were trading strikes in the middle of the ring. And Styles ended up hitting a sliding forearm to Theory. Then he ended up hitting the flying forearm into the corner. He ended up going for the cover, and Theory ended up kicking out of 2. So we had later on, Theory ended up catching Styles coming off the ring apron, and he ended up jamming Styles into the commentary table. Theory ended up rolling Styles back to the ring, and the referee's back was turned. Dolph Ziggler got up from the chair and delivered a super kick to Austin Theory. So Austin Theory was on the floor. The referee was counting. Theory couldn't beat the ref's count, and Styles ended up getting the win by countout. So post-match, Theory ended up coming back to the ring, and Styles ended up delivering the Styles Clash to Theory. And that was that. So we had 2 DQs and 1 countout tonight. Man, isn't this good booking? Isn't this good creative by WWE? Awful. And then we had Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Dana Brooke versus Doudrop, Nikki A.S.H, and Tamina. This shit was awful. This wasn't even a match because you had Dana Brooke spotting Reggie at ringside. Dana Brooke was jawing at Reggie. Akira Tozawa ended up sneaking out from under the ring. He ended up sneaking up behind Dana Brooke, rolled her up to win the 24/7 championship, and then Tozawa got into the ring. Tozawa ended up getting caught by Nikki with a twisted neck breaker, and Nikki ended up pinning Akira Tozawa. Nikki won the 24/7 championship. Alexa Bliss ended up hitting DDT, pinned Nikki, so Alexa Bliss won the 24/7 championship. So then Doudrop hit a crossbody on Alexa Bliss. Doudrop pinned Alexa. Doudrop wins the 24/7 championship. Tamina hit a super kick to Doudrop. Tamina pinned Doudrop. Tamina wins the 24/7 championship. And then Dana Brooke rolled up Tamina and pinned her, and then Dana Brooke won back the 24/7 championship. This gave me a fucking headache. This really did. This was so fucking awful. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Who thinks this is entertaining? And somehow, the match was still underway. Asuka ended up putting Nikki in the Asuka lock, and Nikki ended up tapping out. So Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Dana Brooke won the match. This was a nothing match. Alexa Bliss and Asuka end up celebrating after the match. This shit was fucking awful. This was absolutely dreadful. God, I can't believe this. Gave me a fucking headache from going from Dana Brooke to Akira Tozawa to Alexa Bliss to Doudrop to Tamina back to Dana Brooke. What the fuck? The 24/7 title needs to be fucking retired. It really does. Please, burn the 24/7 title. Please, get it out of our misery. But no, Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard still find this shit funny, as everyone else does not find this funny. Segment was fucking awful. Moving on. We saw Rey and Dominic Mysterio in the locker room. Dominic ended up saying that he would never join the Flopment Day. Rey ended up saying that they aren't the first ones to come after their family. Rey ended up saying that he'll celebrate his 20th anniversary by beating the Flopment Day next week. And then they also announced that Roman Reigns will be on Raw next week because they gotta sell tickets for the Garden. So yeah, the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns will be on Raw next week. Then we had the main event, which was MIZ TV. MIZ TV with Logan Paul. Miz ended up coming out. Miz welcomed us to MIZ TV. He introduced Logan Paul, who came out. Logan Paul ended up getting on the mic, and he ended up saying that he's here face to face and wants to know if the Miz accepts his SummerSlam challenge. Miz ended up wanting to talk about the good times of him and Logan Paul. And he pulled up a clip from when they won their match at WrestleMania, to which the clip did not show Miz turn on Logan Paul. So Logan Paul ended up asking the production truck to keep rolling the clip. And so we did get to see the Miz turn on Logan Paul. We did get to see that clip. So the Miz ended up explaining that he was teaching Logan Paul. So Logan Paul ended up wanting to know what he was teaching him. He ended up saying that he signed a WWE contract to beat his ass at SummerSlam. So Miz ended up plugging his stuff, of course, the Miz and Mrs., which you can see why Miz main evented, because they wanted the viewers to stay and watch Miz and Mrs. after Raw. USA wants that rating for Miz and Mrs. So then the Miz ended up piping up Logan Paul. He was talking about his success online and harnessing his ability in the ring. Miz ended up saying that he has a lot of promise, but he ended up saying that Logan Paul is not ready. Miz ended up saying that he was able to protect Logan Paul at WrestleMania, but he can't face him at SummerSlam. So Miz ended up denying Logan Paul's challenge at SummerSlam. Logan Paul then took off his jacket. He ended up saying that he was told he wasn't ready for a lot of things, and that he proved all those people wrong. Logan Paul ended up saying that it only motivates him and his sole motivation right now to beat Miz up at SummerSlam. So Logan Paul ended up saying that he'll be back on Raw next week to host his own version of Miz TV. Oh, great. Fucking great. Yeah, thanks for letting me know when to change the channel for next week. And thank God I'm not going to Raw next week. Thank God I'm not paying my money to sit there and watch Logan Paul live. No way. So Logan Paul ended up saying that he's better. He'll prove that he's better than The Miz. So The Miz ended up saying that the answer is still no for his match at SummerSlam. Logan Paul ended up saying that he expects to hear that from someone with 2 blueberries in his pants. And then, of course, I don't know why this is big. Logan Paul starts a tiny balls chant. You know, they're still going on with this fucking shit with the Miz's balls. Who finds this shit funny? So the Miz ended up getting pissed off, and the Miz then accepted Logan Paul's challenge for a match at SummerSlam. Miz tried to attack Logan Paul. Logan Paul ended up fighting the Miz off. He clotheslined the Miz over the top rope out to the floor. And then Ciampa came out of nowhere. Ciampa ended up attacking Logan Paul from behind. Ciampa ended up holding up Logan Paul for the Miz. Logan Paul ended up managing to escape, and he retreated up the ramp. Miz and Ciampa were looking off from the ring. And then Sarah Schreiber was in the ring. She ended up asking the Miz for his reaction. Miz ended up saying that this is his house, and no one comes in and embarrasses him. And of course, he ended up saying, because I'm the Miz and I'm awesome. And that was how Monday Night Raw went off the air. I don't give a shit about this match with the Miz and Logan Paul at SummerSlam. I really don't. This segment was channel changing. It was channel changing. I didn't care what was going on here. This Monday Night Raw was a fucking dumpster fire. Absolutely dreadful show this was. Fucking terrible. Is it Wednesday yet? I'd rather see Jericho and Eddie Kingston in a barbed wire everywhere match than anything that was on Monday Night Raw tonight. Let's get Wednesday here quickly for Dynamite's Fyter Fest Week 2. Looking forward to that show than anything else that I saw on this shitfest tonight of a show. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all Wednesday night for Week 2 of Fyter Fest for AEW Dynamite. So, see you all Wednesday night with the Dynamite review.